I saw myself.
Someone's out there. Please open the door.
John? My husband's outside. This is a trick.
This is such an interesting character. I feel like there's a lot of self-reflection in what you're doing here. Can you talk about that? And going into that.
Yeah, I think, this character, you meet her at that period in one's life that is the in-between. You're not super young and you're obviously not old, you're still in that in-between phase. And I felt like maybe I was in a similar phase at the time that I was making it. It was right before I turned 30, and I think late 20s, just as a woman, were not my favorite period of my life. It felt like an in-between, like who am I? I don't know. And so I think, we meet her at that point. She's clearly still looking for something, looking for a piece of herself, looking for something that she is missing. And obviously, it takes this strange experience to help her to realize that. But I think, as a character, it's a very relatable quality of she's a searcher, constantly searching.
Well, I think that what's interesting about this character is that she's dealing with a traumatic past. And I think that's what so many people do.
Yeah.
And they don't have the outlet to do that.
Sure. Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No,
did that was that part of the conversation for you?
Definitely. I think that was something that, Ishana wanted to make sure was woven in throughout, and kind of and also the forest kind of bringing that back up for her, something that she tries to keep buried down, and then, being kind of engulfed in this forest and engulfed in this strange world and meeting these new people, and it kind of brings up the things that she's been trying to bury. And that's something we talked about a lot, and I think something that was important to Ishana to weave throughout.
What was it like working with her?
Oh, it was so great. It really was. She's just the loveliest person and such a creative person. She clearly was put on this earth to make things, and you can feel that energy from her, and wants to collaborate and to be inspired, and it was wonderful energy to be around, and I'm so excited for her future. And I think, she's so talented, and really excited to see what she'll do next.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting a script like this too, coming from the writer and the director.
Yeah.
That must be free you as an actor as well.
Yeah, I really like it. I really have realized that I like it so much, because you just get, you create a relationship with the person who knows everything about the story because it came from them, know, and like the world that they're trying to build, and it's great because they, usually can come up with any answer that you're looking for, which I find very comforting.
That is true. And this cast is really nice too.
Yes.
Was there it seemed like there was a real true connection here.
There was. I mean, it was we're all, at different phases in our lives. Alwyn was the most inspiring person I've ever worked with, because she's like just so full of energy, and like, where, she's like, am I gonna be on the ground for this? And all of a sudden she's like on the ground, like she's just like so physically engaged, and just a really lovely, gentle person. Georgina's awesome. She's like, has such an infectious smile and laugh, and really cool. And then Oliver's just like a really special guy and actors at the beginning of, his life and his career, and I'm really excited for him. So yeah, it was really fun to work with them.
Well, it's a pleasure seeing you again.
Thank you. Good to see you too. Thank you.
I don't mean to scare you, but we haven't much time. It's not wise to keep them waiting. They'll be very interested in someone new.
It's a window on the other side. They come every night.
And they watch us.
First of all, I love the fact that you choose these really unusual you don't choose the regular stuff.
Right.
What was it about this?
I just really loved the script. I read the script, I thought it was fantastic. And then on top of it, obviously I'd heard of M. Night, and I knew that his daughter Ishana had worked with him on The Servant. And my manager at the time was like, oh, you have to watch this episode of The Servant that Ishana directed, and it was called the pizza episode. And I remember it from when I first watched it. I was like, oh my God, that was like the best episode. So once I kind of knew that's her, I like this script, I was really excited to be part of it.
I mean, delving into a film like this, it is horror, but there's a lot of there's grief. There's a lot of layers underneath. What did you connect to with this character?
I think I connected to just being in a situation and not knowing how to deal with it, which I really enjoyed, because I feel like I've done a few films around this genre, and I feel like usually I play characters that kind of like figure it out and are quite strong and can kind of push themselves forward. And I really enjoyed playing someone that doesn't necessarily have that. They are quite fragile and vulnerable and scared and trying to lean on other people to kind of get through. And I really enjoyed that because it felt very realistic to me.
Sure, yeah, and there's the whole your character is kind of dealing with, where's my husband? Where's all this stuff going on?
Yeah.
Talk about this cast. This is I was talking to Dakota that there's a real genuine camaraderie here.
Yeah.
What did you feel that?
I did. With Oliver Finnegan and Olwen Fura, it was like we all just got on so well immediately, and we obviously came together first because we're kind of in the coop together, and Dakota comes in as the outsider. So the three of us really kind of got to know each other during having a little bit of rehearsal before we started, and then Dakota came in kind of like the first day. So we had already like set up this great dynamic of like, we all know each other, and Dakota didn't really know us, and that kind of worked for the screen as well. And then obviously we all got to know each other throughout filming, and it was just really lovely. It was a lovely group. Everyone was very kind.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll talk about working with a director who obviously, she's done Servant. She has some, her dad's done a few things.
Yeah.
What was it like, what was it like working specifically with her?
It was great. She's so young, and it's like it's her first feature film, but she has been working in the industry for a really long time, obviously with her dad. And, she worked on The Servant. She wrote on The Servant. She's done a lot of second unit on some of his films. She's made her own stuff. She's done her own short films and all of that sort of thing. So it's very exciting to work with someone that's kind of got this passion and this drive, and they're just kind of starting out. And it was very exciting to work with someone who I feel like she's going to be a really big director, and I get to say, oh my God, I did her first film.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, and you're a horror nut. You do a lot of horror. What is it about the genre?
I love the genre, and apparently the genre loves me. So I'm going with it. I love horror. I love watching it. I like being in them. It's all good.
Yeah, well, I think we have to wrap. I think I just got the sign, but it's so nice
lovely to see you.
You have 5 seconds before the door is sealed. 5, 4, 3, 2...
What is happening? What is this place?
Talk about this novel. What was why was this the one that you wanted to be your feature film debut?
It was really just kind of came from sort of my experience as a reader. I think experiencing that book, it's so kind of wonderfully mysterious and very scary, and I just feel that the author A.M. Shine kind of masterfully created this story that keeps expanding and expanding, and it just made my mind kind of go to 1,000 different places, and I felt the visuals were so strong. So it was just really my love for the experience of reading the book.
Now, what goes into that for you? Mm-hmm. What was going into finding the right beats, finding the right things to say about that novel, and putting it on screen?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me the screenwriting process is a very kind of like chaotic thing. I think it's sort of like really enjoy moving to different places and just experimenting. And then at the end of the day, I sort of returned back to the structure in the book and sort of like what I had initially loved about it. So it was very much that for me of sort of like exploring different pieces and then returning kind of home to what was so wonderful about the book.
Do you, I mean, as a person that is terrified of getting lost in the woods,
Yes.
is that, is that something?
Yes. Yes, definitely. I think, yeah, I both have like a great desire to be lost in the woods and a fear of it. I just always find myself kind of grounded and connected when I'm in like a space surrounded by trees. So that's like been something I've just like found solace in since I was a kid. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of times, don't we respect what we fear?
Absolutely,
in a way?
absolutely. It's like a place that can humble you, which is really wonderful.
Like being in the ocean. You
yeah,
know?
exactly, exactly. Mhm.
Talk about this cast. How specific were you finding the right faces for these characters?
It was very much kind of in a means to sort of honor the beautiful kind of like dynamic that A.M. Shine had set up in the book of these 4 characters that when they came together felt like this odd family structure. So it was very much my kind of approach was looking for 4 actors with the kind of chemistry to create this very particular weird family dynamic. And yeah, it was kind of just going with what I sort of loved about the characters, and they all, to me, sort of represented different pieces of myself, split into 4. So it was just, I mean, they're just like supernova, incredible actors all on their own, and it was an honor to work with them all.
Well, you know, Georgina had mentioned that they had rehearsed a little bit. And
Yeah.
Dakota came, so she
Yes.
wasn't part of the rehearsal.
Yes.
That was planned.
Yeah, well, it just kind of happened that way, sort of like with everyone's schedules, but it was sort of perfect that I got to sort of rehearse the scenes with Georgina, Oliver, and Alwyn, and they created this dynamic, and then kind of Dakota came in really close to when we started shooting, and it was perfect because it was sort of, she is meant to be this outsider, and they sort of like had a rapport a bit. So it just, I think ended up being one of those things where like life dictates the art process.
Happy accident.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure meeting you as well. Thank
Congratulations.
you.